Hey everybody, I'm really excited to be here with you guys. Happy Saturday. It's so funny because every time I prepare for one of these calls, I don't I don't end up doing the chapter that I originally do, but I always think it's the chapter that I'm supposed to end up doing. So this one really hit home for me, and the chapter is the law of consistency. And that's been something that's really been on my mind a lot lately, just this idea of being more consistent, not only in my Arbonne business, but just overall in my life, and in particular in my health. So I'm going to be really personal with you guys on this call today and make a lot of parallels to what I'm going through in trying to be more healthy and exercise more. And I feel like there's so many parallels and similarities to taking control of your health and taking control of your Arbonne business. So it's always a real learning experience for me whenever I try to do that. And what I found is that, both getting physically healthy and in shape and our Arbonne business require a lot of the same things, mostly the motivation initially. So for those of you guys who know me, you might be laughing right now because I'm not a super into working out kind of girl. Actually, my whole kind of switch in my life to decide to actually start working out more and be more healthy happened at our Oklahoma retreat, our VP retreat. Like always, we're surrounded by people we're in health and wellness business. So, these girls wake up early and they go work out, and I've never been one of those girls. And Basamba usually leads a class for us. So he was leading this class 6 a.m. In Oklahoma, and I actually got my booty out of bed to go work out with them at 6 a.m. And I thought Dorota's jaw was going to drop to the sidewalk because she didn't even think I owned gym shoes. So that kind of spurred my initial desire to take a little control of my health. And I realized that, with getting healthy, it's so much like Arbonne. We all have access to information. We have access to amazing products. We have, great resources. But success will only come if there's first an active decision. You have to choose that you want to make a difference in your life, whether it be health or whether it be financial or business. You need to first make that decision. And every success story from any VP, so often you hear, I decided I decided I was ready. I decided I want to be a VP. So just like that, I think any success story requires, first of all, a decision. Secondly, a commitment to that decision and to the behavior that it takes to achieve success. And then number 3 is the discipline, which is what John Maxwell's chapter is all about, the consistency, the discipline to take on that behavior consistently. So talent really only takes you so far. That's another great John Maxwell book. But, I could have within me this amazing capacity to be an athlete. I don't know that yet, but maybe it's there. My first basketball game, just to tell you guys, I was in 5th grade, and the first basket I ever made, I scored for the other team. I couldn't figure out why they were cheering for me. So I don't know that that's an innate talent of mine. But, anybody, even the most talented runner, it's only going to be that God-given gift is only going to take them so far if they don't enact the discipline and the choices to stick with it, to stick with the behavior to get better. So to me, that's what this chapter is all about. And then, so just personally, you guys, what the second thing that really got me committed to my workout goals is really where I found the inspiration for this training today. We did a Secret Santa at Christmas time, my family. So I got one gift from my brother-in-law who got me, and he got me this. Not this pretty bracelet, that's from Shelly. I got this ugly black band, which is a Fitbit. And I opened that and I tried to hide my disappointment because I love my brother-in-law, but I'm thinking dude, you know me. When have I ever run? When have I ever cared how many steps I do? And then it's black, really? Couldn't it at least be pink? And this sat, you guys, on my dresser for over a month. I actually have only been wearing it 3 days, but I am amazed once I actually got out of my funk and my attitude to give it a shot, I'm amazed at what a difference it's making in my attitude and in my goals. And I think there's 4 reasons why this Fitbit is so effective in helping me stay on path. And I think it's something we can learn from and apply John Maxwell's law of consistency to our businesses. So the first thing is it's a physical reminder of my decision to get healthy, right? I wear it constantly, even asleep, which is actually really fun when it tracks like when I'm sleeping. I'm so surprisingly into this, you guys. But it's a physical reminder. So every time I'm faced with a decision, like, do I want to snack on this junk, or hey, am I committed to my goal, right? And how great would it be to have an Arbonne reminder like that? That's why I love those bracelets we get for GTC and passing those out to my team as soon as they register, because then it's something they can wear and it's a physical reminder of their commitment to their business and their goals before reaching GTC. So I think physical reminders are super effective. And can really help us just stay on path. It also helps to wear your why on your wrist, I wrote down. So John Maxwell talks a lot about this, that without the motivation, you're not going to have a clear motivation if you don't have a clear why. And so that's why we start with that in our Arbonne business. And really, I think like most of you guys on the call are going to have your whys. I think it's worthwhile to revisit your why. If you've been in Arbonne for a long time, you might just be writing that down, or maybe you're not even writing it down, which is bad, but you're forgetting about it and you're letting it get relaxed, or you're not truly believing in it anymore. So it's always a good idea to revisit that and really think specifically, what does that mean? What is my life going to look like? And helping people on your team do that too, because people without a committed why, when I hear that, oh, we'll see how it goes. Oh, I joined Arbonne, but I'll see. I mean, I've learned to call people out on that, because I know I'm not doing them a service by letting them maintain that mindset. They need to have a clear understanding of why they're doing this business if they want to get ahead. So that's number 1. Number 2 is then it puts my goals in writing. So I had no idea how effective. I mean, we hear about that all the time. Write it down, write it down, write it down. But with this giving me like a daily tracker and sending me reminders, I cannot tell you how much more motivated I was to do everything and to see the consequences of my actions. So even like a sleep schedule, you guys. So that's really my weakness, because I'm a night owl. I stay up way too late. I don't sleep enough. And I've always been okay with that. I just thought, well, that's who I am. That's how I function, right? And what this has taught me, like, it sends me a reminder, like, hey, if you want to hit your target sleep goal, you got to get to bed right now. And I've never had that kind of like push to do that. And what that really helped me start thinking, you guys, is the impact that that bad habit has on the rest of my life. So a lack of sleep means I wake up groggy. I drink way too much coffee, which makes me less effective. I get a crash, and I'm therefore less productive to make my phone calls, to take care of my kids effectively. And that one bad habit actually leads to all these other consequences. And it's exactly the same in our business. So my question to you guys is, what is your bad habit in your business, or your fear that's holding you back and having a chain reaction? You might not even be aware of it. Just like my sleep was just who I am. I didn't, until I thought about it and had it written down, I didn't weigh the consequences of that bad habit. So what is your bad habit? Is it a fear of the phone? Is it procrastination? Is it a lack of organization? Don't just accept that as part of who you are. Challenge yourself to be better and analyze, okay, this one bad habit, okay, I might be able to deal with it. I might be able to live with it. But what effects is it having on the rest of my business? Maybe for me, my fear of the phone definitely was part of who I thought I was at the beginning of my business. And it led to poor hostess coaching, which led to greater cancellations, less spas, less, and therefore less results in my business, right? All stemming back to this one little fear. So think about that. What does your procrastination do? What kind of stress does that invoke on your family? What kind of how less productive are you in your actual spas because you're worried about getting all of this last minute? Maybe your head is not as clear as it should be walking into a party and achieving your objectives. So don't take for granted bad habits, you guys, and don't allow yourself to write them off. And I think that's something that we can all be guilty of. We can start to legitimize our complacency, and don't be afraid to call yourself out on that. My 2 words of the year were laziness and complacency, because I got okay with where I was at, and I stopped pushing myself to be better. And I think we all need that reality check to, hey, I need more discipline in my life. I need to continue pushing and reaching and enjoy the journey, like John Maxwell talks about. A great example John Maxwell gives us in this book is the musician. I love that, because so often, like a musician, you would think, oh, well, he just has to wait until he's inspired. I mean, he's an artist. He can't be disciplined in his artwork. He's just got to go with it. And that's such a, I think, a misconception in efficacy. Like, he was more effective because he did it daily. He did it when he didn't feel like it. And that's when success happened. He didn't expect it to be perfect. He just expected it to be done. So a little bit every day can really help us. And that really affects our mindset, you guys. And there's so many times, like, I don't feel like it in my business. I'm sure you guys feel that same way. Like, oh, you get a call from somebody, you just don't feel like it. Or you have a party and it's so cold out, you just don't feel like it. But challenge yourself to change your mindset. Your mindset has to switch immediately before you answer that phone or before you go out for that party, because you don't want to waste that event. So I have found truly that my best spas, my best consultants, my best results in my business have come out of events where initially I didn't feel like doing it. And I had to check my attitude and switch it to get the results I wanted. And I truly believe whenever we push ourselves to be better or do more, that's when we get the biggest rewards. So challenge yourself to do that, you guys, and call yourself out on your bad attitude. When you do something, a daily habit, it just becomes a part of who you are. And that brings me to the third reason I think my Fitbit is so effective. It gives me daily encouragement. So, like, getting little messages like, you're only so many steps away. It's so cheesy, you guys, but it's so effective. And we all need encouragement in our businesses. We need to, therefore, be careful who we're surrounding ourselves by. Make sure that we're staying in touch with the people that are going to challenge us to be better. And, in the book, The Energy Bus, he talks about energy vampires. And I love that term because we've all had those people in our lives. Sometimes they're even on our team, and it can be hard to protect our belief and our energy when we're around that. But it's so vital to our success to be able to do that. So we also, we're a result of the people that we surround ourselves by. So the reason I got out of bed primarily in Oklahoma at 6 a.m. to go work out, that first workout that spurred my kind of path on this journey, was largely because of my roommate, B, who's on the call today. She is one of the most disciplined people I know, Bata. She's on my team. And I mean, there was no way she was not going to be there. But had I not had her example, she was going with or without me. But I got my butt out of bed that day because I had her support there. I continue now to partner with people. Heidi and I have a little health challenge we're doing together, and we're checking in with each other every 2 months before our end goal. So having a cheerleader like that to help you, encourage you through the process is going to make you more likely to succeed in the end. So appreciate the process. Don't get discouraged by the numbers, right? Just like hitting a weight loss goal, the numbers aren't going to happen like immediately or after 2 days of working out. Like, it's so similar to this business because it's the consistency that that rewards us, right, with the end result. And if you're constantly checking your weight or you're constantly checking web stats, you're going to get discouraged because the results don't come that quickly. You have to hold on to your vision, your big goal, but you have to appreciate the process and not get set back by it. So in appreciating the process, sometimes we can get discouraged. It can be a challenge to do that, right? Because we're so focused on our end result that we're not really giving ourselves the appreciation to enjoy the journey. And it sounds cheesy, but it's something that's so important to do, because I love what John Maxwell talks about in this book about when we tie our success to a title, we're really hurting ourselves. And I feel like I did that a little bit just by, okay, what's next? I mean, I hit MVP, like what's next, right? And so many of you guys might have been like, oh, I'm going to hang my hat on the area. And you start to identify yourself with that title instead of with the journey that it takes to get even further. So if you're feeling stuck, don't allow yourself to get stuck at a level. Think about the journey and who you're going to become in the process. Not just the title. Does that make sense? We also, I think the challenge, going back to like looking at those numbers, is the hope for instant gratification. That's something that we can be a challenge that John Maxwell talks about. He says, hard work is really the accumulation of easy things you didn't do when you should have. It's like diet and exercise. Everybody wants to be thin, but no one wants to make the right choices to get there. It's hard work. However, if you make small right choices each day, day after day, you see the results. So too often we get hung up on the big results and we give up before the end game is there. And especially in our business, because it's based on exponential growth and not linear growth, the results can happen when you think you're so far away, but then all of a sudden you can see that swing and your numbers start duplicating. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute too. Okay, and then the other thing, to give yourself more encouragement and appreciate the process, I think it's important to implement gratitude in your life and gratitude in your business, especially for the things that you might not like to do. Okay, so I don't like calling people. I still don't, never did. Don't have like a huge fear of it anymore. I like being with people. I don't love being on a video or on the phone, but that's the nature of our business, so I've had to adapt and learn how to do that. But something that the author of On Fire, O'Leary, when we met him in Maui, talked about really stuck with me. He said, for everything that you dislike, and it's normal to dislike parts of this business, you don't have to love doing, washing bins or calling people or following up. But you have to do it anyway, right? You do it when you don't feel like it if you want the results. But for everything that you don't like, create a list of things that you're thankful for because of that, right? So for me, I don't like calling people, but I'm grateful that I'm grateful that I've met a lot of amazing people. I'm grateful that I've learned to deal with rejection through calling people who don't want to talk to me, because it's made me way less sensitive. I used to be the type of person that would break down crying because somebody looked at me funny. And thanks to Arbonne and the rejection I've had to endure, I am so much more confident and less affected by what other people think of me. Okay. And that's something that I'm thankful for, that came out of something I didn't like to do. And another thing, just to help you stay disciplined and consistent with the things you don't like to do, is to create a schedule. So for me, I had to physically write out in my calendar when I was going to make phone calls, because it was so uncomfortable for me. So Wednesday nights, before the Wednesday night call, I had an hour blocked off that I was doing follow-up calls, whether it was hostess coaching or prospecting or checking in with people. And I used to dread that. And I would go in there because I wrote it down and I had to, but I hated it. But eventually, you guys, as it became a habit, as that daily discipline became a part of my life, it became easier and easier. And I know it's going to be the same way with my workouts now. As I implement them more regularly, it's just going to be second nature. So anything, you guys, that is productive starts, you don't have to like it, okay? Like, you don't have to love it. And I think that's a mistake we make in this business, thinking like, well, I'm never going to get good at this because I don't like doing that. No, you cannot like it, but you have to do it anyway. That's what's going to get the results. Okay, and then the last step, I think this is my last point, is to have your goal broken down. So break down your goal. Oh, one last thing, you guys, just about the encouragement and appreciating the process. Learn how to track your business and analyze your business so that any setbacks you do experience are not done in vain. Learn something from every experience. So for me, I had to get more organized with that, but I started doing a tracking sheet. Like, we have so many of those out there. But it was a very simple tracking sheet. It just said, okay, how many parties did you book each month? How many did you actually do each month? How many people did you sponsor that month? And how many people did you promote that month? So it was those 4 points. And I always thought I was doing this business the right way. But once I put it down on paper and I actually analyzed it, like Tammy talked about last week, having a moment of pause to reflect, I analyzed my business and I found the holes and where I needed to apply more discipline in my business. And it was the things I didn't like to do, right? But what I saw personally was that I might have booked 8, 9 parties, but I was actually only executing 4, 5, 6 parties. So I wasn't consistent with the recipe there, even though I thought I was, because I was booking them, but I wasn't keeping them. And why wasn't I keeping them? Because I was afraid to call people and do my good hostess coaching. So right away, I was able to find the gap in my business and correct it. And then consequently, I saw that the months that I actually did execute 8 parties were the months that I sponsored people. And it all just built my belief and validated our recipe and helped me see that, wow, there's an actual method to the madness. Like, Carlita didn't just pull that out of the air. She actually, like, there's a reason we do it that way, and it gives results. And if I want the results that she has, I need to adhere to the system and see where the gaps are. So I encourage you guys to analyze your gaps. Find out where your holes are in your business, where your weaknesses lie, and do what you need to do to correct them. And in that way, you're not going to experience setbacks in vain. You're actually going to learn from your setbacks, learn from your hardships. So that just makes it worthwhile. And then the last thing, you guys, the reason my Fitbit is working so far, now I have to get super healthy because I've told you all of my goals. The reason is it's because it breaks it down into manageable pieces. So I have my weight loss goal. It's not like, oh, here's this huge number, but it's actually breaking it down for me in smaller chunks to make it more manageable. So in Arbonne, we need to do the same thing, right? We have our big vision, but then we need to break it down into weekly goals, monthly goals, daily goals, so that we see our consequences. And sometimes we have a hard time doing this. We write down a number, but we have no idea how we're going to achieve that. And, that can discourage us then when we're writing down a number month after month after month and we're not hitting it. It can discourage us. But if we have a bite-sized mini goal and we have a plan to act on it, we're going to be more productive. So having short-term goals. And then one thing that Maxwell talks about that I kind of have to pick a little bone with, he says, it's important, you start with low fences and work up, which is true. He says it's important in management never to ask people to try to accomplish goals they can't accept. And I kind of have an issue with that because I think in this business, we have to show people what's possible, right? We have to have that crazy goal that just shows them, hey, you don't have to wait 2 years to go area or region. Like, it could happen sooner than you think. Here's how it's possible. And I know for me, that was a huge mind shift when I saw Heidi's numbers, and I saw that within 8 months, she was able to go from region to nation. And I normally would not have thought that was possible, but when I saw her numbers do it, it gave me the idea, well, if she could do it, I can do it. So it made it more manageable for me. So again, show people how that's done. When you circle chart, show people, the realistic, but then in our business, sometimes the unrealistic does happen because it's exponential growth, right? So show people, well, if all the stars align and if this happens and this and this, here's what's possible. Reach for it. Even if you miss, you're going to end up here. So don't be afraid to hold a higher bar for people, and make sure that your teams understand how they can do it. Because at the beginning of my business, I would have this awesome goal and it would make me feel really bad, to be honest. I didn't know how I could achieve it. And I thought I was just letting Lisa down month after month by not hitting my awesome goal. But once I understood that, hey, this goal doesn't always happen. It's not meant to always happen, but it's possible. And it's there on paper because it's painting a picture of what's possible. That made all the difference for me, because I didn't feel hard on myself for not hitting it. But I also kept it there as a reminder to set the bar high. So set the bar high for people, you guys, but let them know, hey, this is an awesome goal. This happens if all the stars align, and it's possible. That's why it's there. It's possible. But here's what we're working towards, and here's how we can do it. If this person goes in qual and this person finishes, and this, so draw it out for people. Make sure they understand that it's not just a number on paper, but it's a plan of action, and they know how to get there. Okay, and then one more thing that I think holds us, that I think goals broken down is important to keep in mind, that sometimes we procrastinate in this business because we think we need to be perfect. We're waiting to go region until we're ready, right? We hear that all the time. I'm not going to go region because I'm not ready yet. Or I'm not going to prospect this person because I don't know what to say yet. So we end up waiting to be perfect, waiting for perfection that doesn't exist, you guys, because there is no perfect situation. There's no perfect skills or qualities. There's no perfect version of yourself. You just need to act, okay? And it's the procrastination and the pursuit of perfection that keeps us from growth in this business and ultimately success. So like John Maxwell says, enjoy that journey that you're on right now. But it's only through acting on things that you're going to achieve success. So help people overcome these excuses, whether it's your own or those for people on your team. Help people realize, hey, there's no perfect you that's going to be ready magically to go region. You need to just get into activity, follow the system, and the results will follow. You will become that person in the process. There's no perfect thing to say to someone to prospect them. And don't be afraid to ask people tough questions, to call them out on that. So in a nice way, of course, but I think that was something I had to learn because I was so afraid to hurt people's feelings, that I would allow that complacency to be their excuse and my excuse too. So don't be afraid to say to someone, I hear all the time, well, I can't start this business right now because, I'm so busy, or because I have these kids. And my question to them now becomes, well, what do you see changing if you don't change what you're doing? Can I ask you that? And it might be a startling question, but ultimately it's a really good one for them to hear, because it's going to get them to pause and reflect on their complacency or maybe their laziness. Don't let other people fall victim to their lack of consistency. Don't let yourself fall victim to your lack of consistency. I think that laziness and complacency can be the enemy of success, and consistency is what rewards us. Consistency is where we see the results. So implement good habits. And like I said, identify what holds you back. Is it a lack of system? Maybe it's a lack of organization. Maybe it's a fear of the phone, like it was for me. But find out what's holding you back and learn how to implement it into a habit. And I'll just leave you guys with this last quote from the Law of Consistency on page 75. John Maxwell says, daily goals are reached by doing things which are uncomfortable at first. If you guys saw me doing yoga the other day, you would have been uncomfortable for me. I promise. I can't laugh. It hurts. But it's uncomfortable, okay? But eventually, habits are powerful things. Habits turn actions into attitudes, and attitudes into lifestyles. You can visualize tomorrow using it as motivation to grow, but if you want to actually grow, your focus needs to be on today. Value today, invest in today. Implement action, daily disciplines today. Wear your own little Arbonne Fitbit and figure out what you need to do on a daily basis to get those big results you want to see in the next coming months and years. So hope that was helpful, you guys. Thank you so much for letting me share and be so transparent with you. I'm looking forward to next week's call and love you all.
Amazing call, Miss Jen. Thank you so much for preparing for us. And I just love sitting at your feet. I don't get to sit at your feet as often as I do some others. And I just have enjoyed so much getting to hear you teach and train and hearing your perspective and just your heart. You are a beautiful trainer and you speak to people's hearts. I mean, you spoke to my heart and I love the message. This is such a powerful chapter in this book. I mean, out of, he says every chapter in that book is a law. It's not a suggestion. It's like, these are the things that absolutely make a difference for your life, good or bad, depending on what we do with these laws that we live by. And this one, out of all the 15 that are vital, is I think the biggest game changer, because it's us. It's what we do about it, and how much we pay attention to what it is we are learning on our journey. And I just thank you for so graciously pulling out what it is we need to be paying attention to and staying consistent with at every level. I mean, even like you said, at the MVP level, what's next after MVP? If we focus on titles in this business, which you guys all know I hate titles, there's always going to be something that holds you back, either the pride in the title that you have and what it does to your head, or the insecurity that you have because you're not at a title that you think you should be at yet. And it's just ugly. They are ugly, ugly, ugly. And both of those. And so what I love is just like staying consistent in the process and on the journey and just getting better every single day. Gosh, so proud of myself. I wasn't crying. And I know I'm just emotional right now, you guys, but just being consistent and watching you guys grow and fight through those things that can hold you back from your best life, so that you can have the life that you need and you deserve, and that you will be grateful for someday down the road that you don't even know yet. So I just thank you, honey, for preparing for us and sharing with us and just doing what you did for us today. It touched us, and I know it will help every single person on here to just go make today a better day. I love you.
Thank you, Carlita. I'm so happy to see you on and with us today. I wasn't sure you'd be on, so it's glad things are going well.
I'm so glad for the normal today.
Yeah, I'm sure. And that's one thing I was going to say too, is that like this consistency stuff, it's not pretty. It's not glamorous, and so often like we have these expectations that like, ooh, we see VPs and I want that fancy dress and that fancy jewelry and that moment in the spotlight. But yeah, you get that for the nitty gritty and the not so pretty and doing the things you don't want to do. So it's a good reminder for all of us, regardless of title.
Yeah. Anyone else want to share?
Hey, Jennifer. Oh, go ahead. Hey, guys. Hey, Jennifer. It's Bash Gilardi. Me and a gal on my team are sitting here and just laughing so hard because we were just talking last night about an Arbonne Fitbit and how everybody is so crazy about getting their steps in. But if we had a Fitbit that said, hey, you've got 15 more people that you got to talk to this month, or, oh my gosh, you've only booked 2 parties, you need 8 more, or, I mean, how awesome that would be. But it just aligned perfectly with what we were talking about with consistency. So thank you so much. That was an incredible illustration, and I just love your story. So thank you. It was awesome.
Thanks, Beth.
I was just going to say that this is one of the calls that I'm going to archive in my files of things that I feel like new people need to listen to, and everyone needs to listen to no matter where they're at, because it was so good. And I realized I put on there, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're speaking straight to me. And then I realized I'm logged in as Carlita. I'm like, I was laughing. I'm like, she's like the epitome of the word consistency. And Carlita, yeah, I mean, you do model that well for us in every area, and I'm just so grateful for Philip's consistency with his help, because we are so grateful that he is trucking through all of this. And yeah, I'm surprised you're even on here, but it's always good to see you. But thank you for modeling for that for us, and what an amazing call. I think it was perfect. And I love your transparency. Every time you train, I'm like, I love her. She's so real and relatable, and I feel like anyone can relate to you, and you're just such a powerhouse. You model it well. So
thanks, Don.
I think
it's been a process.
Hey, Jen, it's Terry Fisher.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, so good. I love seeing your face because I don't get to see it that often. But the one thing that resonated with me is I think sometimes we overcomplicate things and we minimize small things, and we look at maybe our goal sheet and we look at the activity that we have, and maybe we don't have as many parties, but we have 10 activities, 10 one-on-ones, 10 income, and we minimize it because we just get so focused on one thing. And you guys, it all matters, like Jen said. And if you had the Arbonne Fitbit, if you could just, I love that. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. And you guys, these are the important things that we do every day. And it's the private victories. It's the things that we do consistently over and over that that mean something to our business, right? The small things. And like you said, just, I mean, if we work so hard on our business like we do, maybe keeping our house clean or working out or picking out our clothes, what would happen is we would have the same success in that, in what we're searching, simply because we're doing the do, right? So I love how simple you make it. And I also love how you always incorporate your story into what applies to Arbonne, because they really are one and the same, right? They coincide all the time. So thank you.
Thanks, Terry. You're definitely one of those on my list of motivators when it comes to my running or working out, and business as well.
Okay. Well, guys, if there's no one else that wants to share, then we'll go ahead and let everyone get off this call and get working on your day, because I know there's lots that we need to be doing today. And just stay consistent in this book club, and be diligent about applying what it is we're learning here every week, because that's really the game changer. Knowledge is, you know, we always say it's better to be ignorance on fire than knowledge on ice, but don't let this knowledge fall on ice. Let it like fuel your jets for just putting your business on fire, but more importantly, your life on fire, because you do every day in every way what we need to do for you to live out the very best life that we are meant to live. So I love you all, and I'm so glad to be here with you, and have a wonderful, blessed day.